Alright, so we haven't seen Joseph in a while, so we went up with Joseph and Chris, and yeah, let's go for a swim. Hopefully find some treasures. We're up at Lynn Canyon, and yeah, who knows what people drop in this water. There's 10 Celsius year round, we'll see. But yeah, you gotta be careful. Undercurrents, swells, different things. The bottom line.
I think that's what happens. People jump in, they get pushed against the rocks, and then they can't.
You know, there is no sign about not swimming. So,
every year people die here.
just says be careful. Perfect. Influencers. As you can see in the bridge, the water flow was a bit much for diving there today. We definitely plan to go back and hit some of those pools up because people drop tons of stuff over that bridge. But for now, we're going to take a hike to the 30-foot pool.
I don't disagree, but at the same time, the likelihood of a vape exploding is probably
Berries. A little tart, but nice. Got the berries.
If you go across the bridge and then take a left, I guess.
Alright, so this is a super popular swimming spot. It's not even that nice out, and there's people here. So people drop a ton of stuff here, drop a ton of trash. So let's go find some trash and treasures, and yeah, have a good time. And a quick fun fact, I've been watching the show 100, and this is exactly where this was filmed. Got some juice for you guys. Got you some juice. A little chilly, eh? Once everyone was suited up and in the water, we decided to swim up the narrow little canyon. But this has quite the flow, and it's quite the battle to swim upstream in this narrow little passageway. That's one way to do it. So Joseph took the jumping method, Chris chose the brute force, kick as hard as you can method, and I kind of did a combination by crawling up the rocks and then swimming across, kind of like Joseph had actually. This is a gorgeous little spot to swim up to, and in the later months of summer when the water flow is a lot less, you can swim quite a bit up to the second part you can see there, and it's far more safe. Right now, I didn't want to be the cause of a search rescue call, so we did not do that, and instead we just turned around and headed back downstream. And a lot of people talk about bubbles and aeration when it comes to swimming, and you can see here why, at least for diving, it can be kind of dangerous, just because the visibility is absolutely zero with all the bubbles flying past. With this amount of current and bubbles like this, it's actually really disorienting, and it's hard to see where's up, sideways, bottom. So I got all turned around, came up for breath, and then came back down to finish my swim here. And a little while ago, I actually posted a short about this, kind of summarized this, and it kind of made me scared for a second here, because when I started swimming downstream here, you can see Chris floating there, which turns out he was just catching his breath. But for a second here, when I got close to him, I thought he might have hit his head on a rock or something, because he just wasn't moving. And so I got a bit panicky, and thankfully he moved, and like I said, he was just resting. In the lower part of the canyon, a lot of people jump off the cliffs right here, swim up and down, and just kind of have fun. The water's pretty cold, so when people first jump in, they kind of panic and get out right away. So this is kind of a prime spot to find stuff that people have dropped. Rings, necklaces, watches, all those kind of things. And all of us have found these kind of things in the past, so we thought we'd take our lights and give this a pretty good search and see what we could find for treasures. 3 of us taking turns searching, we covered this small area pretty fast, and unfortunately didn't find a lot. My big find here was 5 cents.
Rich!
When Joseph's dived here, I wouldn't really call this treasure by any means, but he found something that's definitely really interesting and something you don't see every day.
It's a bird. Banana slug. And a baby bird. Oh, that's wild. Yeah. That is wild. The aquatic baby bird.
No.
Do CPR.
Yeah. I don't think that's living anymore. That's kind of cool though, dude. Yeah. I don't know what it is.
It's
While these two discussed how best to make some chicken nuggets, I headed over to the spot where people climb in and out of the water because I figured that gets the most traffic and that's where I'm going to find the most treasures. And as it turns out, I was right. I got a couple more coins, and then I got one thing that I was pretty excited about for a second here. Turns out not real gold, so less exciting, but it's always fun to get treasure. And this was about it for this dive. It was super nice to see Joseph and Chris again. It's been a while, so far too long without diving together. We had a short hike back, said our goodbyes, and I thought I'd include this video with another short one that I did recently too.
Let's wrap on this little dive.
What's going on, guys? I'm here at Lower Cascade Falls and I brought the metal detector today. This has been a spot that I've wanted to detect for some time and finally got around to doing it today. It's a bit of a detour, nothing else really too nearby, so I don't have many excuses to come up here. But yeah, came up today and yeah, let's see what kind of fun, exciting stuff we can find. I'm hoping for a couple rings, maybe a necklace, something like that. If you've never been here, I highly recommend. Like I said, this is the lower pool. There is an upper pool with a waterfall and suspension bridge, but you probably shouldn't be swimming into the upper one. Definitely some dangers there. So in the summertime, it's a really busy place, and there's a ledge right along here, and it's about 10-15 feet deep there, so I think that's going to be a good spot. There's also a small little rope swing, kind of cliff jump there, and then a bigger one right up there. So this whole pool, I'm assuming there's going to be lots of little treasures, and then if you look way up there, you can see the suspension bridge, and that's the upper falls. And who knows, people might drop stuff there and it kind of comes down the little current here. Yeah, so I'm excited to get in the water. When I first jumped in, I was using my big metal detector. However, it's a bit hard to film while using that one. It's just kind of a two-hand thing, trying to hold the headphones on. So with all these big rocks though, it really wasn't getting down to the depth where I think there might be stuff in the rocks. So then I tried using my pinpointer, but at the same time with the pinpointer, it's kind of the opposite thing where it's too small of an area, and so I can't search big areas. But I ended up finding this just with my eye. Well, that's pretty good. And I actually spotted this in my eye too before I used the metal detector, so I don't think it really counts as finding it with the detector. And I don't think it was real gold either. Finding fish like these in these pools way up the mountains is something that's always really interesting to me, because no matter how I rationalize it, I always think it's amazing that there's all these fish even here. So if they came from way upstream, where they had to fall down several large waterfalls, it's amazing they survived. And if they came from downstream, from the lakes down below, just navigating that obstacles is actually amazing all in its own right. So seeing all these fish here, they have just stopped in this one little pool, is just so cool. But as far as the treasure dive for me, this wasn't really the most productive one. I got that Apple Watch and the one earring, which is cool. But I think I might have to invest in a proper metal detector one of these days, because I don't think the ones I have are just really cutting it. The pinpointer's great, but the bigger one, it just doesn't detect some stuff. But before I left, I had to jump off at least one of the cliffs, so I chose the smaller one, but the bigger one up there, on the top right of the screen, you can see a log sticking out. It's about 40 feet, so that's one I've done before, and they're both a lot of fun. But if you guys are cliff jumping, be safe. And that's it for me for now. Take care.